नमस्कार, मेरा नाम है राजीव कुमार बजाज यानी RKB और मैं हूँ इस वक्त एडवोकेट प्रदीप नंबियार जी के साथ। प्रदीप जी नमस्कार।
नमस्कार सर, नमस्कार।
और प्रदीप जी और मैं हम दोनों कहाँ पर हैं? नेशन नाउ पर। नेशन नाउ हमेशा हमेशा आपके साथ। आप सब लोगों को जय हिंद, जय महाराष्ट्र, जय भवानी, जय शिवाजी, वंदे मातरम।
वंदे मातरम।
भारत माता की जय, जय हिंद।
जय हिंद।
So Pradeep ji, the flight AI 171, that was the flight.
Yes.
And now newer and newer things are being discovered. The ATS, Gujarat ATS has just discovered what they claim is a major find. They've discovered a digital video recorder. Now what's so important about that, I don't know, because lots of people, it would be part of somebody's baggage. So I don't really know what is the importance of that, but they are placing a lot of importance on that. Number two, the fuel valve was found to be in the off position, even in the wreckage of the plane, and there are some other discrepancies which have also been discovered. So, in your experience, you were in aviation yourself. Does that point to any sabotage? I don't think so, very frankly speaking.
It's all happened in a matter of 30 seconds. I mean, 30 seconds from takeoff and the flight was down. And the experts around the world say 35% of the accidents take place during the initial takeoff stage.
Yes.
That is where. And now only things will say, now nothing can be ruled out until things are got. Now they got the black box, they got the CBR, so they probably decode the last 30 seconds. I don't know what more could have transpired in 30 seconds. Aviation experts from out of the country have been saying that there was there's no synchronization between the pilot and the co-pilot. And I don't think so. Such people who have flown for so many years will do such things that they claim to do.
And the other thing also is that there are a couple of whistleblowers who have come forward in the United States of America. One engineer who has worked for Boeing for the last 30 years, he says that 2 years ago he had warned about a design flaw in the design of the Dreamliner, which is the 787 and the 777 and the 777 or the 777. And he says that he had warned 2 years ago that there is a possibility of a couple of flights crashing, and he was told to shut up. That's what he says. Now we don't know how far that is true, but he's all over the place. He's all over the American media, the US media, and the UK media, and even all over here.
There are a lot of reasons, as you say. Many experts say why the landing gear was down, how both engines have failed, how the extended gear was on, retracted flaps. All these things, I think experts can answer this. Only a person who has flown these kind of aircrafts.
And the main fuel supply valve was off, so they say. तो मेन फ्यूल सप्लाई वॉल्व जो होता है वो तो सर ग्राउंड क्रू मेंटेनेंस जो होता है उन्हीं के हाथ में होता है। पायलट साहब तो आगे चेक नहीं करते ना कि मेन फ्यूल वॉल्व जो है वो ऑफ है कि ऑन है। बट देन व्हाट आई एम वेरी सरप्राइज्ड अबाउट इज दैट द HUD or head up display of the Boeing would have warned the pilot कि ये this is what is working, this is not working. Fuel the jet fuel is not going, the fuel injection pump is not working, that the fuel is not going into the engine, and so on and so forth. So wasn't he able to check all that before takeoff? I mean, I don't know. We'll ask. I believe we have a very, very important guest indeed with us. I believe very shortly we'll be joined by RANDHAWA Saab.
I'm there.
How are you, RANDHAWA Saab? How are you?
Fantastic.
CS RANDHAWA Saab, President of the Federation of Indian Pilots. How are you, sir? Captain Saab, namaskar. My name is Rajiv Bajaj. With me, of course, I am with Advocate Pradeep Nambiar Saab, and this channel is called Nation Now. The name of the show is the RKB Show. Namaskar, sir.
Namaskar.
Sir, so what do you think really happened? I mean, I'm asking you, how would you explain it to a lay person, to somebody who doesn't understand? Sir.
You see, now I have been, quite into the crash which happened yesterday afternoon. And I have seen the video film at least 30-40 times that what could have happened. And my personal analysis is that there could be three reasons. The first one being it is infested with bird activity. AHM'DABAD airfield could be a bird ingestion into the engines, and the engines have flamed out. The second reason could be fuel contamination with water in the wing tanks. Due to condensation, the water has formed, which is mixed with the fuel, which is 1 in 10 million chance that both engines it has gone and they have flamed out. Now these two lead to engine failures. The third one is, if you see the landing gear is up, landing gear is down, sorry.
Yes,
And
landing gear is
the
down.
flaps are up at the time of the crash.
Yes.
Now the aircraft must have barely gained 400 feet after takeoff, because it has been 34 seconds in which the aircraft has rolled and crashed. Now at 400 feet, if you see the aircraft, flaps can't be seen. So the flaps seem, or apparently seem to be up.
G.
Now, there is a possibility that the gear was not taken down, because till the crash, the gear has been down. The pilot is engaged the autopilot around 200, 250 feet, then must have realized the gear is down. He must have told the co-pilot to take the flaps up, gear up.
G.
Now, the co-pilot hand inadvertently may have moved to the flap lever and he's taken the flaps up. Now, flaps up at that altitude with gear down, though the power will rev up the engines, then it leads to loss of lift. Now, loss of lift can cause the aircraft to actually go out of control and stall, which we call,
Yes.
and aircraft has no time thereafter to recover, because the height is very less for the aircraft to recover. So this is the third possibility. I overrule any possibility of a sabotage or uh, components going. They're not working properly in an aircraft where both the engines are concerned. Extremely remote possibility. The aircraft is certified in the beginning by the aircraft maintenance engineer, and subsequently the pilot in command accepts that aircraft. I have personally known Captain Sumit Sabharwal. I have trained him in the Airbus 310 for some time, and he was a good flyer, and there cannot be that he was an unprofessional pilot, because he was a line training captain also, who is primarily a training captain who's checking pilots. So, in other words, this has been a very tragic accident. 777-877s have been flying since last 15 years. Not a single accident like this. I have been flying the 777 since 2007, 2008, till the time I retired from Air India. And excellent machine, and they're quite similar machines, 777 and 787. So 777s have been flying since last 30 years, and 787s have been flying since last 15 years.
Gee.
There have been no problems.
Captain-
So it is
Captain-
incorrect to say. Some of the panelists have said that Boeing has had a problem. I disagree with them, because there have been so many accidents of Airbus. So it's incorrect to say that Boeing is not producing aircraft, or there are reports. Yes, I have heard what you had just mentioned, that
There was some whistleblower.
Yes, I did hear that. Now, if such a situation occurs, the manufacturer will not go ahead and ruin his own name by crashing aircraft, are crashing all around the world.
Captain, what among this, with the whistleblower has talked about, he's also talked about discovery of hairline fractures in the wings. Discovery of hairline fractures in the wings. Now, how serious is that?
No, see, that has got nothing to do in this case, in this accident. Okay, if he's found that there have been inappropriate, the fitting of the wings, or the nuts are not put properly, or it has there has been there has been a problem with the wings. No, and this is not related to that. This accident is very clear. Either both the engines have failed due to some reason. The second case is that the gear is down and the flaps have been taken up, the aircraft has stalled. I don't find a third theory coming into it, that we are speculating at present, but the DFDR has been retrieved, the CVR will be retrieved soon, and in the investigation, very soon you will come to know that what has gone wrong.
Captain,
Was
just
it a
one small
pilot
thing.
error, or was it a technical fault, or due to birds, both engines have failed?
Right. So there's one small thing, sir. And there's a WhatsApp message which is going around, allegedly very technical. Now, I am not an aviation expert, neither is Pradeep, you are. One of the points over there is, it says that if main fuel supply valve was off, then engine will run on fuel only by staying in line for 30 to 40 seconds. As soon as the line fuel ends, both engines flame out, plane will fall. AI 171 crash at 625 feet is direct proof of the same. Who put the fuel supply valve on off? That's what is going on.
Fuel pumps not being put on, it will give a warning indication. The engines have started, it has taxied, it has taken off. No way that the fuel pumps are off. Fuel pumps are on. And the fuel pumps indication, in case they are not selected on, you would get an ICAS message on the one of the MFDs. So this is not the correct theory. The fuel pumps were on.
Captain Randhawa, I want to know, because most of the foreign aviation experts are saying there is a total there's no coordination between the pilot and the co-pilot. Now we see, as you said, you have personally known about the captain who flew this aircraft. Do you think it's a possibility? There was no coordination.
No. It's not a question of coordination. Coordination has been there. What I was trying to tell you, it's a human error. Like the gear lever is on the front panel, and the flap lever is on the pedestal panel. So now, by a human error, the captain must have said gear up, and the co-pilot has taken the flaps up.
Gee.
And that at that moment, because the height is not there, the aircraft could not sustain and it will stall.
Because of the flaps being down.
The loss of lift.
Yes, because the flaps would be at 0 or 0
Correct.
degrees, where they're supposed to be at around 15 to 20.
Normally the 787 takes off with flaps 5, and on performance limited airports, they take off with flaps 15.
Yes.
To sustain sufficient amount of lift.
So what would happen? Now, could you explain to us just a little bit? Suppose this really happened. Suppose this was a scenario that the flaps were down, because a lot of people who have actually seen this video, who are allegedly aviation experts, they say that the flaps are at 0. That's what they are saying. Now, what do you think would happen? Would this be the result of that?
No, flaps 0 means it would have not taken off. It would have taken off very late. Okay, and the climb would have been extremely shallow, and it would have maybe it wouldn't have taken off. Okay,
it wouldn't have taken off at all.
So
okay.
yeah. So the very less possibility that the aircraft is taken off with flaps up. Then how did it crash? My point is that. The point is, how did the aircraft stall? Aircraft stall, it must have stalled because the flaps had taken up inadvertently. That is a possibility. But once the aircraft has got airborne, even when the flaps were 0, so it's a flapless takeoff. Like you do a flapless landing if there is a problem with the flaps. But you never take off with flaps unserviceable. So, it is not, I tried to see that video, but it's not easily discernible whether the flaps are up or down.
Yes.
But at impact, when I saw the trailing edge of the wing seems to be very flat, so means the flaps are up.
Right. So was the crash caused by the engines flaming out, or the engines flamed out after the crash?
The engines, it's very difficult to say because there is a lot of sound which is coming. So some people presume the aircraft engines were on, but you can't make out. Okay. So the DFDR and the CVR will actually reveal what has actually happened, what was going on in the cockpit. What the DFDR will show all the readings, height, speed, configuration, engine parameters, everything will come out. Black and white.
So, Captain, you're saying the black box and the CVR both will identify what actually happened out there.
Yes.
And how about different, Captain? DV, as you said, the black box and the CVR, the cockpit voice recorder?
Yes. Yes. The DFDR captures a lot of parameters from the aircraft.
Which is now, which used to be called the black box. Now it is called the DFDR. Yes.
No, it is never the black box. It has always been orange in color, and but people have always called it black box. It's orange in color, and it's called the digital flight data recorder.
Yes.
That is the correct term,
Yes.
term to be used.
Yes.
And the CVR is the cockpit voice recorder. There are two components which are very helpful in the investigations when a crash takes place.
So, Captain, do you think in this 30 seconds you can really identify, because you have flown so much, you were the captain when you tried for Air India. This 30 seconds, much will come out from the CVR and the black DFDR?
Yes, not on the CVR, but on the DFDR, it will show you everything. It will show you the trajectory of the aircraft, were the flaps down, up, gear, it was down, what any problem with the engine, everything will come out in the DFDR, in the decoding. It has got 25 hours of data which can be picked up, and in case of a CVR, for 2.5 hours.
Captain, the aviation experts, even you, they say that all 35% of the accidents happen during the initial takeoff. If the takeoff pushes pilots and aircraft systems to its most. So if you manage the initial stages, then the margin of error later on is very thin. How do you, what's your
Most
take?
of the accidents around the world takes place on takeoff or on landing. And many accidents are attributable to pilot error. In the past, it has been seen. So whether it is military, whether it is commercial, that is how the investigations have proved around the world.
And in this case, do you think it could be attributed to pilot? I know it's too early to say.
Too early, I can't, I wouldn't like to speculate, but as I said, there could be a miscommunication.
So I would like to know from you, I mean, what is your view? There is this boy who was able to jump. There was this gentleman who was able to jump out of the emergency
No, he didn't
door.
jump. He didn't jump. When the aircraft has hit, the fuselage must have broken into two pieces. Apparently, the seat has come out of the bolt and he is fallen with the seat.
Wow. Mother,
So that is God's miracle.
This is like God.
Because-
This is like the hand of God saying, you are the
Yes.
only guy who deserves to live here. Thank
By
God.
the way, even in the Mangalore crash, Air India Express crash, in Mangalore also there was one survivor.
Yeah, but the Mangalore airport, we'll have a discussion on that at some other point of time. The Mangalore
but
airport
what
is a
I'm
very,
saying,
very,
there
very,
was
very
one
difficult
survivor.
airport. Yeah. And by the way, I am also hearing, have you landed on the Ahmedabad airstrip, sir?
I have landed many times. I have done training flights, doing 2020 landings at Ahmedabad, and always used to be scared of the bird activity.
Yes, because
Lot of
that's what
birds.
people say. There are lots and lots of bird
Yes.
hits at possible bird hits at Ahmedabad
Yeah.
airport. So why hasn't anything been done about it, sir? What is the
Birds,
reason?
the skies are meant for birds. We intervene with aircraft. So you can't actually shoo away birds, though there are measures which they take. They fire, in the air. They do that. They use other devices. They put some silver strips on the on the sides of the runway. So various measures are taken but you cannot avoid birds. Birds are, you saw that aircraft, US Airways aircraft in
Yes.
LaGuardia. It got airborne at 1500 feet, ran into a
Flock
big
of
flock
geese.
of birds
A
and
flock
lost
of geese,
both
yes.
engines.
So he had to land in the Potomac River. That's right.
Yes, Hudson River.
Hudson River. That's right. That's
Captain,
right.
there was an initial report saying the plane accelerating on runway struck from behind. Plane lost control when struck from behind. Is there any truth in that? Now, you see in the footages, any truth in that initial statements that had come?
No, I disagree with that. Because you see that video film where the aircraft is rolling on, so I don't know who's taken that video. And it's gone airborne and how it has started descending. All through you can see the landing gear down and the aircraft has gone into descent maybe 800,000 feet per minute and crashed.
That's right. So what I'm trying to say is this. You know, just to put a little bit of a perspective on this, and I'm sure you would agree with me, and I'm sure so would Pradeep. Pradeep also used to be in Air India. Now, the point is, air travel still remains one of the safest modes of travel in the world.
I
The
agree.
number of accidents are, say, less than 0.01%.
Yes.
Just the other day, we had, for the first time ever, in the local train suburban network of Mumbai, people who were hanging on to, the outside of the train just crashed into each other. And about, I
Yeah.
think, 9 people died. And
Yes.
every day, about 6 or 7 people die, according to the statistics released by the railways.
Yeah.
This kind of stuff, because, a plane crash gets attention all over the world. हर जगह पे मतलब यही होता है कि भाई साहब हवाई जहाज क्रैश हो गया, हालत खराब हो गई. So I would like you to tell us a little bit about how safe air travel really is as compared to other modes
Air
of transport.
travel is
please.
very safe. I'll give you my own background. I've been in aviation for 49 years. I started my career in 1976 as a fighter pilot in the Indian Air Force.
Which plane
I've
were you
flown
flying, sir?
lot of fighter aircraft.
Which aircraft were you flying, sir?
I was flying the Hunters,
Wow.
and the Canberras, and MiG-23s, and I did a lot of training on the Kiran aircraft. So, a lot of training I have done.
So you must have been there at the time when the Hunters and the Canberras were being phased out. The Canberra,
No,
we of course used as a
Canberra
bomber.
phased out very late, 2005-6, very late.
Oh God,
They almost flew for 55 years.
but very tough aircraft, wasn't
Very
it?
tough. So the point is that whether it is Air Force or commercial aircraft, you have to understand that that the safety takes in major forefront in aviation. Aviation, it is very safe. I am very skeptical about the driving on the roads,
Yes,
but I find air travel is very safe as compared to ground. You see the number of people dying in road accidents.
that's right. Highest.
In any country
Yes.
on the road. They die, there is no survivor. But here, air travel, how many times the accident takes place, if you take the statistics, it will be minuscule. So and today's world, everything is connected through the air. Everyone has to understand it is a safe thing. Now, this is the first crash in Air India after 1985, after the Kanishka crash of 747 over Atlantic Ocean.
But
The
that
aircraft
was
was
a
blown
terrorist
up.
act.
This is the first accident Air India,
Yes.
the white body, has crashed.
Yes.
The last crash due to pilot error was 1978
G.
of Jumbo, which crashed off Bombay coast
Yes.
on New Year.
On the new, yes.
Yes.
Yes. After that, this is the first crash. So it's a good track record. Millions of hours it has flown. The airline.
Captain, has the DGCA ordered inspection of all the Dreamliners?
Yes.
And
They
do you think
ordered
it's the
the
right
inspection
decision?
of all Dreamliners. All Dreamliners have to be checked up for for all the technical checks. They will check all the technical records. They'll do audits. This is done even by the manufacturer sometimes. Earlier, when there was a problem with 787 with lithium batteries, they had grounded all the 787s on the around the world. So these checks are done normally.
Now this has become a political kind of storm. The Dreamliners were not actively pursued all over the world for a brief period of 2 to 3 years, and now why the government? So, do you think this will escalate, this Dreamliner thing?
Yeah. Sorry, I'll just get interrupted for a second.
The Dreamliner has become a political issue now because many political leaders have started objecting. They said Dreamliners were not touched for a few years. This was not ordered. For a few years, this was kept lying low.
No, 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 no. It is a perfectly safe, very sophisticated aircraft because I got converted even on the 787, so I have a lot of experience on the 777, and they're quite similar to fly with. 777 is a bigger aircraft than 787, but almost similar technology. Only thing it has got head-up display and a little more sophisticated. But otherwise, if you see, there are a lot of similarity between 777 and 787. So they're both fantastic machines. 777 have been flying for the last 30 years. 787 for the last 15 years. So I won't say that Boeing is not producing good aircraft. I won't agree with that.
So
Captain,
fantastic. Yeah,
Captain. So there's a lot of talk that is going on sabotage. Now you've seen it, everything. You have seen the flights take off and everything. You rule out sabotage totally.
Totally, I rule out the sabotage totally. And component failures also, I rule out up to a large extent. A component failure cannot happen in both the engines.
So you stick down to you come down to pilot error. Pilot error being one of the major.
perhaps, maybe.
No, I first said engine failure due to contamination of fuel or maybe due to bird strike. And third could be the one which I told you.
Yes, you
Okay,
did.
okay.
Yes, you did. Now the point is, what next? What happens next now?
Next is that the investigation is ordered Aircraft Investigation Board under the Ministry of Civil Aviation. So a panel will be set. The Boeing people must be already here. The G engine people must be here, and they will try to now investigate and find what is wrong. It will take about 2-3 months for them to complete the investigation.
And in the meantime, the Dreamliner will keep flying. I hope they're not going to ground the fleet, are they?
They are going to. Government has already announced that DGCA will be carrying out inspection of the entire 787 fleets.
But the 777 continues to fly.
Yes, yes.
But the 787, from whatever I had read, apart from one whistleblower who had appeared yesterday with a very Eastern European accent who said that he had been working in Boeing for the last 30 years. Apart from him, the Dreamliner was supposed to be a really safe aircraft. Are you there, sir?
Yeah, I'm
G.
there.
G. So if you can hear me, please go ahead, sir. Please answer the question. The 787 is supposed to be a very, very safe aircraft. Sir.
It's a very safe aircraft. I reiterate, it is a very safe aircraft, and it's a machine. You buy a Rolls Royce and you can drive just out of the showroom and it may stop.
Yes.
It's a machine. Similarly, aircraft are machines. So there could be defects, there could be problems, everything happens.
Fantastic.
Captain, one small thing about you're a fighter pilot. You were a fighter pilot. Now, how do you see this Make in India fighter jets that are coming out? You think that are combative in the international arena?
Can you repeat the question?
You have been a fighter pilot before. You were in the Indian
Yes.
Air Force. Indian Air Force, indigenous production of aircrafts, making of aircrafts. How do you see them, state of art, in the modern conditions?
See, the fighter aircraft also is quite now. If you see those aircraft, those machines are very expensive and they're state of the art. If you see the corporate aircraft, they are always more sophisticated as compared to the commercial airliners. So, if you see the overall, I would say that I again reiterate there is no problem with the 787s. Okay, and it is very disheartening to note that some people are pointing fingers at the Boeing company. I do not agree.
Right. But that
If you
usually
see the
happens.
Airbus, so many crashes have taken
Yes,
place.
I know you
No
said
one
that.
talks about that.
That's right. So the point is, Randhawa Sahab, are we disturbing you? I think some guests have come to your place, right?
No,
I
I'm just, I wanted to take a break. I have
right.
to give
Okay.
a
Fine.
DHL parcel.
Okay. So can we talk, or are you very busy? So shall we come back to you?
Yes, if you can give me a break of
Right. So
2,
we'll
3
just
minutes.
give you a break, sir. No problem at all. Thank you
Fine,
very
fine.
much. Please carry on. So that was Randhawa Sahab. And a very succinct, very clear reply, Pradeep ji. Very
Yes,
clear.
yes, very,
As
very
he says,
He is-
and he's absolutely right. The last real air crash which took place, which was actually a crash, an accident of Air India,
Yes,
took place
yes.
in 1978 off the coast of Bombay. New Year's Eve. अगर आपको याद हो.
Yeah, बिल्कुल.
New Year's Eve 1978, that was the last air crash which took place.
Yes.
The Kanishka in 1985,
Yes.
that was sabotage. That was clearly planted by those Khalistani, bombs planted by those Khalistani terrorists, as a result of which the plane crashed off the Isle of Cork, or the island of Cork near Ireland. So all I'm saying is, flight safety, aviation, Pradeep ji,
Bilkul.
has perhaps a very impeccable record. We've been hearing about a crash now for the first time in so many years. I mean, come on, what more do you want? I agree this is terrible, but at the same time, you can't just turn a blind eye to the safety record of Air India. Pradeep ji.
Exactly. Now, the Captain Randhawa has clearly pointed out what he sees from his expert view. He's been a fighter pilot and he has spent loads of experience where Air India is concerned, and he retired when he flew these aircrafts also, the 787-8 Dreamliners. Now, he's identified 3 places where fuel contamination that is
Bird hit, fuel
wings,
contamination.
that he penetrated the wings. Second, he says the bird hit, and third, he says a pilot error.
Pilot error as in
The third.
the
Last option.
The chief pilot, that is Sabharwal
Yes.
Sahab, would have told the co-pilot to do something, and he
Yes,
didn't do that.
and he did exactly opposite.
And perhaps in the confusion that could have resulted in something else. But he is leaning more towards
Fuel contamination.
bird it.
Yes,
sir,
the
bird
first
it.
he says is fuel contamination that has penetrated the...
Sir, bird it
Yes.
because Ahmedabad has a bird problem anyway.
Bilkul.
And even on the runway, you see dogs sleeping, you see all sorts of things happening, and you see lots and lots of birds. It happens. But let me tell you again, air travel is still the safest mode of travel in the world. Well, that's all we've got for you in this special show from both Pradeep ji and myself. Please, अगर आपने अभी तक जो है चैनल को अगर आपने सब्सक्राइब नहीं किया है तो प्लीज सब्सक्राइब करें. If you haven't subscribed so far, Pradeep ji, you usually say that this
Yes,
is
the fastest growing channel of the nation now.
This is the fastest growing channel in the nation.
Yes.
Let's be very clear. I think we've got Randhawa Sahab back with us.
Yes, yes.
So let's go to him for a summing up. Randhawa Sahab, are you back with us? Yes, sir.
Yes,
you are.
yes.
Now, Randhawa Sahab, आप ये बताएं, in terms of as you mentioned, Airbus, Europe, Boeing, the US. So do you think that battle will continue for some time?
The sale battle always continues between they are the biggest 2 manufacturers. If you see in the beginning of 90s, Boeing was selling many more aircraft till 60s, 70s. Boeing was on top till the time Airbus came up with 320 aircraft, which was in late 80s and 90s beginnings. Okay, till that time, the manufacturer which was ruling the skies was Boeing. And Boeing aircraft are supposed to be quite rugged and they are good to fly and very pilot friendly. I've flown even the Airbus 310. I have a lot of experience on Airbus 310. And that was a semi-glass cockpit. And after that, they had come out with Airbus 320. And when the Airbus 320 came, there were 1 or 2 crashes, and the first crash took place in India, if you recollect,
Yes.
in Bangalore. So, it is sometimes the technology, the pilots are not able to imbibe the technology so much because that was the first fly-by-wire aircraft which was manufactured, and pilots were not used to it, and it led to that crash in Bangalore. Whereas if
That
you
was
see
1990, right? That was 1990, if I'm not mistaken. 14th
Yes,
of February.
yes, yes.
Valentine's Day, 14th of February. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Gee.
So there's another thing that one must understand is that as far as technology goes, the first time the technology will come the advancement comes in the military aircraft. The aircraft which came with a fly-by-wire and a side stick was the Mirage 2000.
Yes.
So, commercial aircraft will always come later. There are lot of advancements of advancements which take place in the aircraft manufacture, like in the corporate world. If you see the global 6000 vision, or you see the Falcon, it's state of the art as compared to a commercial airliner. So there they can afford because people are buying for charters, for business, for personal use. They have the money, but those kind of stuff comes very late in the commercial airliners, like the head-up display. First time came on the 787. It was not there on any aircraft, and before that,
It
you
used to
have
be
come on
only.
the-
It used to
of
be
the-
only in fighter aircraft. The HUD.
fighter aircraft.
Yes, that's right.
Head-up display used to be there
Yes.
in 80s, and then the head-up display, then the other things which came up, the big MFDs on which you have lot of data, the track, the aircraft, the weather radar superimposed, and big screens. You found it on the corporate jets. And now it has come on the Airbus 350, 380. So technology changes, and the first changes they try to do it and they test it on corporate or the military aircraft.
Right.
Captain, I wanted to ask you, because I tried asking you earlier, because you were a fighter pilot, now you got a fantastic knowledge of military, Indian Air Force is concerned. Rajnath Singh recently introduced that stealth fighters, inaugurated the stealth fighter jet, advanced medium combat aircraft, AMCA. Do you think it's a state of art? How do you see Indian indigenous manufacturing taking off in a big way?
See, Tejas has taken so many decades. So India is still not dependent upon it, is dependent on the other nations for everything, avionics, engines, and airframe. It has not been able to manufacture till now. So we are still very far off from countries like China, which has now started producing very effective fighter jets. Okay, after Russia. So it is going to take some time. Of course, stealth is a dream, I would say, because many countries in the world are unable to produce a stealth fighter, which even in US it costs billions of dollars
Yes,
to
that's right.
produce an aircraft. And stealth fighter is not the answer. If you see the recent skirmish with Pakistan, the next war is going to be fought with drones.
Yes.
So the aircraft, why you want to, send that aircraft millions of dollars and it is gone. Whereas just few thousands of dollars is the drone, and drone can go with the bombs, can crash into the target and finish the target.
That's right. That means you lose.
The next war you will see on drones.
That's right. So you can actually lose a $200 million machine using
Yes.
a $1,000 drone or a $4,000-5,000
Correct.
drone,
Correct.
which is far more cost effective than anything else.
Yes. Now you see,
Absolutely.
recently I saw advertisements. They're going to start an air taxi drone
Yes.
between Bangalore airport and town.
Captain Randhawa, I wanted to know this DFDR and the CBR. How long does it take for the report to come to
It
understand?
will not be, see, they would be able to decode it within a week, but they will not reveal. They will check all factors. They will check the maintenance records. They will do lots of information they will dig before they come to some conclusion. So
which
even
means,
though
what are we looking
the
at?
decoding takes place, they will not share with people.
So which means we are looking at about 2 months before the actual report comes out, is
Yes,
it?
yes,
2 months or so.
yes.
Right. So as far as you are concerned, must be quite a, I would say, very harrowing time for you as well, considering
Yes.
the fact that you have flown from that same airport and all that. Your first reaction when you heard the news, what was it? Would you like to share with us? I'm reasonably
Yes.
certain you must have been terribly disturbed.
I just
If you don't want to
landed.
answer that question, don't. I mean, I'm just
I
asking.
was in Goa and I departed Goa at 10 past 1 and I landed here at 20 past 2. And when my WhatsApp messages, they were full. And they initially started with a crash. Initially, I thought it's a joke. But I saw 5, 10 such messages
Yes.
with videos, and from that time onwards, it was a real shocker that an Air India 787 has crashed. So I was at that point of time. I did not see any video, but my first thing was could be a technical problem because 787 is a very sophisticated machine. So could be a technical problem or maybe that both engines are flamed out. So I had stated these two possibilities in my mind and I was shocked and that such a disaster has taken place.
And Captain Sabharwal is somebody you knew. You were trained
I
him
knew.
also.
That I came to know the name of the crew by about 3:34.
That's right. And terrible for the crew, terrible for the
Yes.
passengers, and terrible
Today I
for the
went
captains.
and consoled me and my wife. We went to Captain Sabharwal's house. He has got a very old father, around 88, 90 years old, and
Christ.
he is totally devastated because
God.
the son was looking after him. Son never got married and looking after the ailing father.
Oh my God.
Sacrifice.
Isn't that terrible? And Jesus. And as far as the rest of the crew are concerned, I believe one is from Imphal. There was one girl who was from Imphal, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, there are a lot of air hostesses Air India recruited last year, about 5,000, and bulk of the air hostesses are from the northeast.
Okay.
And well, our condolences and sympathies for the rest, for everybody who has passed away.
Right.
That's all that we can say. We can't really say anything else. And I know this sounds very trite, but all the same, there's not much that we can say apart from the fact that everybody is in shock. I'm
Yes.
sure all of them would be devastated by what has happened. But we await the results of the investigation and hope to God that such a thing does not happen again. So,
Correct.
Sir Randhawa Saab, thank you very much for joining us. Great pleasure, sir, talking to
Thank you. Thank you.
बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया सर
Thank
हमारे
you
साथ
so
जुड़ने
much.
के लिए
Thank you,
धन्यवाद सर।
Pradeep.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, sir. Namaskar.
Namaskar.
You know, I'm feeling so terrible myself.
Yeah,
Can
it's
you
awful.
imagine?
I can't. As soon as I heard the news, I said, awful. What a time to take these things.
Awful. Awful.
And why should it have to end
I
our
do have,
aircraft?
Pradeep ji, I do have to say one thing. What our Randhawa Saab pointed out, this really is the first real crash of Air India. Do you remember the A320 which crashed at that time? It was still flying Indian Airlines. It was not Air India. और उसके अंदर भी 130 के 140 लोग थे जिसमें 88 मर गए बाकी सब बच गए थे वो A320 का क्रैश था दैट वाज 14th of February मैंने अभी डेट भी बताई थी लेकिन मेरा ये कहना है सर कि the fact remains that Air India has had a crash exactly once in 1978 on New Year's Eve.
On the years.
New Year's Eve को सर तो मतलब कहने का मतलब ये हुआ we are looking at how many years 1978 22 plus 25 that's 47 years ago 47 बरस पहले प्रदीप जी 47 या 50 बरस पहले एक प्लेन क्रैश हुआ था एयर इंडिया का ऑफ कोर्स द कनिष्का वाज sabotaged that was a terrorist act if you remember
Bilkul, that was a terrorist act.
so Air India's safety record has been second to none. It's been brilliant.
It's brilliant.
Let's be very clear. So I would suggest, this is something I have to say, people should not be uploading irresponsible videos. All these guys on YouTube, they should not start to blame Pakistan or saboteurs or people like that till such time as the government of India comes out with a proper investigation report. There is one particular thing, वो कोई जयपुर डायलॉग्स करके है प्रदीप जी
बिल्कुल
वो कहते हैं कि कहीं ऐसा तो नहीं है कि वो जो आदमी बच गया है उसने जान करके इमरजेंसी डोर टेक ऑफ के टाइम पे खोल दिया हो और डीप्रेशराइज हो गया हो अरे 450 फुट पे क्या डिप्रेशराइजेशन होगी भैया? अरे कुछ तो, अरे भाई कुछ तो माफ करो।
आजकल तो सब एक्सपर्ट बन गए, एविएशन एक्सपर्ट्स हो गए।
एंड थैंक गॉड दैट बॉय हु जम्प्ड ऑफ इज नॉट अ मुस्लिम। अगर मान लीजिए वो मुसलमान होता ना, मैं सच बोल रहा हूँ, एवरीबडी वुड हैव बिलीव्ड इट, और आज की तारीख में वो वायरल हो गया होता।
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल,
मैं सीधी बात आपको बोल रहा हूँ। मेरा ये कहना है कि भैया कंट्रोल योरसेल्फ, शो सम रेस्ट्रेंट, शो सम रेस्पेक्ट फॉर द पीपल हु हैव डाइड। एन एयरक्राफ्ट हैज क्रैश्ड। इसका मतलब ये नहीं है कि आप अपने यूट्यूब के नंबर्स बढ़ाने के लिए आप उल्टी सीधी चीज करें। दिस इज द बॉय, दिस इज द जेंटलमैन, द प्राइम मिनिस्टर इज मीटिंग हिम राइट नाउ।
बट मेजॉरिटी यही सर, जाको राके साइया
मार सके ना कोई।
इस प्रकार से दिस मैन हैज,
sir, it's divine intervention.
Yes.
It's a miracle. That's
It's
the
a
only
miracle.
thing that I can come to. The only conclusion I can
God
come
has saved him. God has saved him for some
Absolutely.
cause.
Well, that's just about it now for this show. Otherwise, I'll start to freak out, especially with regard to all these irresponsible, horrible people who are all around, who have no respect even for the people who have died. And I'm not even talking about the Pakistanis. I'm talking about our own Indians. तो साहब जरा अपने आप को कंट्रोल करिए, जरा रिस्पेक्ट दिखाइए, आदर दिखाइए, कोई सहानुभूति सामने रखिए जो लोग चले गए हैं उनके लिए। फ्रॉम प्रदीप जी एंड मी, दैट्स जस्ट अबाउट इट इन टुनाइट शो। और जैसा आपको बोला था, अगर आपने अभी तक सब्सक्राइब नहीं किया चैनल को तो कर लीजिए। प्लीज डू सब्सक्राइब टू द चैनल। थैंक यू वेरी मच एंड दैट्स इट। वी कैन ओनली होप एंड प्रे दैट दीज थिंग्स विल नॉट हैपन अगेन। फ्रॉम द एंटायर टीम एंड नेशन नाउ, आप सब लोगों को नमस्कार। जय हिंद, जय महाराष्ट्र, जय भवानी, जय शिवाजी, वंदे मातरम।
वंदे मातरम।
भारत माता की जय। जय हिंद।
जय